This is Captain Sunny Waffles, and I'm doing my full review on The Question All Along the Watchtower, Issue 1. This is by Alex Segura, and he had a team of writers that he shouted out fully on his Substack. By me, Cyan Termi, Romulo Fajardo, and Willie Schubert, which I thought was pretty interesting. Variant cover by Fornes, I believe. Yes, Jorge Fornes, and I really love the variant cover. The main cover is very acceptable. It shows you what it's about, got the gun in the picture, but the variant cover, you got her walking through the watchtower, and then it's red, which is like fine. I like red. It shows dynamic, right? It shows the start of her new beginning in this space odyssey, space noir, and there's a question mark. I considered this book to be boring on my first read. Reading through it again, I got a lot more out of it, and I saw the bigger setup narrative of it all. Now I'm hovering around a 6 to a 7 on this first issue. I think we definitely could have got more with what was done within the panels, and what we did get was like serviceable enough to set up a mystery. It was interesting storytelling is how I would describe it, because we're half the book is what happened a week ago leading up to her recruitment, to her being Watchtower Sheriff, and then the other, not really half of the book, it really feels like more of a fourth of the book is what's happening now, today. And then there's a good chunk of flashback panels. The book opens up with a blank screen, which isn't really inviting or like artistic in any way. But the first page is just Renee waking up and getting ready to start her day. Then we get a cool double page splash of the Watchtower and a little bit of backstory of who Renee Montoya is. My biggest gripe with these first couple of pages, this opening section, we have, this would be 1, 2, 3 pages in, is I don't really feel like I know Renee Montoya. I didn't read any of the Renee Montoya question stuff. I really didn't read any of the question stuff. I just like the question, and I've always wanted to get into the question, right? And it's 2024, and this is the most available, easiest way to get into a modern question story, which should be good on all fronts because there's good setup beforehand, and there's a good crime noir writer in Alex Segura. I was very disappointed in the card. What's really interesting is on the Substack, he gave us this panel early, so it's like an early version, an early draft. I'm looking at page 3 here, and as you can see, that is, it just looks like a regular old card. In the actual issue, it is indeed her lead card. But why? The picture, what's interesting to me, they took her picture out. She don't have a picture here. It looks like it's on cardboard. Like maybe it was from Gotham. That's part of the flashback. But no, that's Montoya getting ready for her day, patrolling the Watchtower. And why don't we have any of the information? Like, why don't we should know what security access she has, so we'll know, like, she's the police force of it all. She should have the top level security access. We don't know what that is now. I was looking like, what's her affiliation? Hero, right? Or, I don't, but now it's just a lack of information here. This was a slam dunk. Like, all of these books should have Easter eggs of me looking at their lead card. I want to see all the lead cards. That's so stupid to me. Big Nick against this book. Huge Nick against this book. She starts her day by saying, talking to Superman, actually. She's like, Superman's like, hey, the promenade is buzzing with activity this morning. And she's like, that's where I'm going first, Superman. And then we get this cool scene of Detective Chimp and Zatanna drinking. Well, not this cool scene. It's a whole page splash. All the different heroes in the Precinct 3A. And we see Constantine, Dr. Fate's in the background, the Bumblebee, Wildcat, the Creeper, but I'm only focused on Dr. Chimp drinking. That's my beat. Batman's there, I guess. That's today, okay? like I said, we gotta go back. If we really want to know what's going on in this crime noir, we gotta go back. And then we get some scenes of the Trinity recruiting her. Now, my understanding, including ads, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 6. So the intro, 4 pages, including ads. Now we're gonna get about 6 pages, including ads, of the Trinity recruiting her. Is basically what happened, and I guess it sets up the mystery. It's also setting up the mystery. All right, but this is 1 week ago, right? Batman approached her first in Gotham. All right, Batman's like technically 2 pages. He's really 1 page. Okay, and he's just like, we want you on the league. And then she's like, why should I listen to you? And then he's like, don't. Here's Superman. Now Superman's there, just a 1 page also, just to grab her hand and take her to the watchtower, and to basically make her say, yes, I accept, because Superman asked, right? Now, who's gonna show her around the watchtower? Of course, Wonder Woman. That's the rest of the pages. That's like 4 pages, even though there's literally 2 double page ads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's really 5 pages, yeah. And there's 2 double page ads, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Front and back, right? There's 6 pages of actual story. But this is all still a week ago. Okay, so now you just did like 6, 7, 8 pages of us being a week ago when we were in the present day at the start of the book. Okay, but a week ago, Wonder Woman showing her team basically, and showing her around the watchtower, and it's done okay. Nothing so far has knocked my socks off, right? The art is fine. I think it's very serviceable and timely. I think this book will age just fine with the art style, which is good. But now we got Wonder Woman showing Renee around the watchtower, and she's like, you're gonna be working with the Beatles, okay? They're the tech guys basically, because Jaime in his alien suit is hooked up into the watchtower, and Blue Beetle's a genius. So, and I'm not mad. Blue Beetle, I think her surrounding cast of characters are very, it got me to want to buy the next issue. Let's say that. Alright, so we got the Blue Beetles, and they're cool. And then she explains her gun, and they're like, her gun actually sends people to the Phantom Zone. So there's like, they have Phantom Zone holding cells, and then you're like, oh, I want to see her use that. Oh, for sure. She shoots it 1 time. Nobody's going to the Phantom Zone. And they made sure to explain that about the gun in the Phantom Zone, right? And then there's some quote unquote character development, and that's with banter with Blue Beetle and Wonder Woman and Renee. And Jaime, he's like super excited. He's like, oh boy, I can't wait. And Wonder Woman's and then no, Renee's like, the question, she's like, fun? This is not gonna be fun, kid. And he's like, ugh. And Wonder Woman's like, hey, can you lighten up? Be cool. And then they go to the next pair, Animal Man and this guy from the Challengers of the Unknown. His name is Ken Kawa. I have no idea who the Challengers of the Unknown is. I don't want to know who the Challengers of the Unknown is. And they work in the menagerie. In the menagerie, there's all these animals, and it's cool, I guess. And I think this is important to the mystery. That's why I'm mentioning it, but like, it's not clear to me. But Animal Man goes, yeah, we're investigating this thing, this Almercian reptile creature, and a Zundarian bird. Sound like alien type animals. Zundarian birds of prey just mauled each other. It was brutal. And then Renee's like, you just got hit in the face with a brick? What happened to your eye? And Animal Man is like, I just got hit in the face with a brick. And they don't elaborate anymore. She's just like, ugh. And then Wonder Woman was like, "Can you be nicer?" And then she's like, "I am nice." Character development. It's okay. It's serviceable. And then Wonder Woman's like, "Now meet your foot soldier, Batwoman." And then there's a whole page, splash page. Batwoman sitting in the top of these like trees in the menagerie. And literally all it says is, "I used to date Batwoman. That's my ex." Oh. But she says it in a lot of words. That I don't like. But yeah, so Batwoman's gonna be helping out as like a foot soldier. She's like under her command, I guess. Interesting, yeah, because they used to date, I guess. She has Animal Man in her ranks. She has both the Blue Beetles in her ranks. And Ken Kawa shows up at the end. Now we go back to now, right? We're all caught up. We're all caught up. What's happening today? Blue Beetle is like, dude, these energy spikes around the watchtower are random. Or is that the pattern? Whoa. I don't know what that means. But the security's going off. A D-tier Superman villain called the Conduit just broke in and started attacking heroes. And you're like, how did that happen on this watchtower? And it's talking like a robot. Instead of Renee doing cool stuff, she just runs and like dodges the robot. And we realize the robot's actually after the question. Its goal is to eliminate the question. But then this hero named Fire saves Renee by freezing the robot. Don't ask. I know Fire has freeze powers. Her sister Ice has fire powers. The robot breaks out, and then that's when the question finally takes out her gun and shoots it in the face. And I wish she did that earlier. Like, I would be okay with if we saw the gun go off like 10 times. But like, no, we only see it one time. It's like, why didn't you do that before it took out Hawk and Fire and all these other heroes? That's when Renee takes off the helmet, and it's like, it's not the Conduit. The Beetle, Blue Beetle, I guess it's never confirmed. She just goes Beetle. It's never confirmed who she's talking to. We just assume it's Jaime because he was the last Beetle we saw, but the actual Conduit's in jail. So it's a robot. It's a Doombot. She's like, uh-oh. That's when we go to the last page. And that's when analyzing this last page, only then, where I was like, hold on, this book might be worth my time. So now we get into the actual plot, in my opinion, which is just the last page. And then you don't really need to contrast it with the first page, but like, it only hit me when I saw the first page again. So it appears Superman has walked into Renee Montoya's room. We only know it's her room because we see the big book, Alcoholism, right? For alcoholics. Renee, I guess, is an alcoholic. And it's covered in blood because Ken Kawa is dead. And Superman walked in on it. It appears. An orange cat walked out as he opened the door. Alright, we only see his feet. That's important. We only see his feet. So we're supposed to believe it's Superman. The cat running out leads me to believe it's a certain villain. A certain Felix Faust. But there's nothing to prove that yet. The only other clues we can really gain from what happened in the issue is Ken Kawa's murder scene. Okay, the blood splatter analyst, Sonny Kit Waffles, got his hat on. Alright, the blood is like droppings leading from the door to where he ultimately fell. I can't tell if that's a shadow or blood stains. I guess that's blood splatter. But we can also know there's blood on the book and on the walls. Definitely killed him. But my question now is, did he die in the questions room, or was he carried in there and then left there for Superman to find? Only thing that I find interesting about making it Superman finding it is that that's the first person Renee talked to when she woke up this morning. Today, not in the past. Today, she only talked to Superman, where he said, "Good morning" question. Seems like the watchtower It's buzzing with activity this morning at the promenade. And she said, that's my first stop, Superman. And it's time to get to work. After that, she was just walking around, and we were in the past until the conduit struck. We only came back to the present when the conduit struck. Everything else in the story took place a week ago. So like, how much of the mystery did we get today? We know there's power spikes everywhere. If you want to take every little piece of details, like, there's some stuff going on with the animals, and Wonder Woman said these guys should help you figure out how to get down to the mystery, but they never got into it. That's why I said this book could do a lot more in the first issue to hook you. And I guess we know the conduit was part of it. He's a distraction, and his goal was to try to kill the Question. He was programmed to try to kill the Question. My only other critique about the story, I'll buy issue 2 because I do want to know what's going on, but Renee didn't impress me. She didn't do enough. She shot her gun one time. She didn't lead. She just had stuff happen to her, which I know women like that, right? That's their lives. Things happen to them. They just go, okay. She didn't show off her skills. She didn't show any leadership qualities, no personality. You know, she just kind of like, my life is hard. My life is tough. Who's gonna watch the heroes while they're saving the world? This is the next step of my job. And I get that. That's cool. Let's see where they go with it with issue 2. Now, the story isn't the only thing about the comic books. I've been learning to appreciate the little columns at the end. And at the end of this book, we have DC Nation Spotlight on Justice League Unlimited, a book that I do want to get into. I do want to watch. Watch. It is a book I do want to read. We have an interview with Mark Waid. Should we read the interview with Mark Waid? Of course we are. The best-selling fan favorite team of Mark Waid and Dan Mora, fresh off the monumental Absolute Power and the beloved Batman Superman, World's Finest, which I did read. I read the Trinity's First Adventure. I bought that comic. It was okay. It was fine. It felt like a classic episode of like one of the animated series. You know, it's just like, this is a classic adventure of Batman and Superman helping Wonder Woman out with a mystery on Themyscira. It's all contained in one issue, so you know, it's short, it's nice, it's a good TV episode pitch. They have their sights set on the greatest super team in comic book history, launching a new era of iconic franchise in the can't-miss Justice League Unlimited. One of the pivotal series in DC's all-in initiative, Justice League Unlimited, is truly an all-in moment. I'm skipping the rest of this. He's not saying anything. But what I really like about this book, ironically, are the ads, because they're all ads for other DC books. So the first page is for Absolute Superman. I'm not going to call it garbage. I'm not buying issue 2. How about issue 1? The next ad is for Detective Comics. And I think the ads are an important part of a comic book, ironically, which isn't said for in a lot of media, because usually you skip the ads, and I've been using YouTube Premium for years now, so like I barely see ads and things I watch and listen to. And so starting a comic book collection in 2024, getting these older comics and seeing the ads in them, like reading an old 1990s story and then getting a Toys R Us ad is like super cool. It's like out of my mind. I'm like, this is like going back in time. Full page splash of the all-in, and there's all these all-in characters, so you can see all the different series that you can get into. This is what they should be doing. They should be advertising their own comics, you know. And it's nice that I guess that they're big enough to do that. Maybe they just weren't big enough to just advertise themselves back then, so they had to like sell ad space to Kmart. That's all I have for you today. This video has already gone on too long. This was Captain Sunny Waffles, Along the Watchtower, The Question, Issue 1 Review. TLDR, it's a 5 out of 10, maybe a 6 out of 10 type of issue. It's not unreadable like some thinking critical propaganda will have you believe.
Nothing worse that came out this week, including The Question, All on the Watchtower, which I thought was unreadable. I feel so stupid because it won for the week, by far, even worse than The Question, All on the Watchtower, which was atrocious. Exceptional X-Men number 3 did not disappoint. It is as bad as Sully said it was.
But it's definitely lacking in, I want to say, basic storytelling elements. It's like there's not enough crime scenes or clues for me to get attached to a mystery. There's no cringe dialogue. There's no LGBT or race swapping, like forced writing or art. But it could be so much more for a crime mystery story that has 4 people writing it. There's no excuse. There's just lack of details that makes it a boring read. The biggest flaw of The Question is probably that it's boring, if anything, not unreadable. If you enjoyed, leave a like, and I will see you next month for the next issue, and in the next video, probably more Pokemon Unite. The Thinking Critical was a joke, by the way. I enjoy his videos. Ever since I started making my comic book collection, I've been watching his videos a lot. So I actually like his channel. I comment on his channel all the time.